give honor to God, who is the head of my life, and Jesus Christ, who is my life. Giving honor to Michael Gaskin, Minister Brother Goldie, giving honor to him, and all the ministers in the pews, and to my father's children that sit among the bases here. We got to get into this. I'm going to take my time and try not to get too excited.
Amen.
Yeah, right. Don't try.
Because y'all know, boy, when the Lord reveals something to you, you get excited about it. And you just can't hold it in. You want to tell somebody about it. Then you get full of what he told you. Impregnated, as they say. Then you want to spill it out. Like, oh, man. But sometimes you run off. You forget to say what God really gave you. Because you're overexcited. And I just want to say to the congregation that keep on holding on. God is with you. Amen. Never fall short of his word. He is there all the time. Amen. I tell you. So I want you all to turn to Genesis 1:26. Let us all get to that. And before I start getting to those scriptures in Genesis, we're going to spend some time in Genesis. It was some questions raised quite a bit at some time ago. Why do we exist? Why was the world created? Without question, creation is a mystery. You know, what are we made of? Some folks always think about that sometimes. And do you know what's in us? Do you really know what's really in you? Do you know? I know some choice words that some folks might say. But after today, you will know what's really in you. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're made of dirt, copper, iron, zinc, and etc. and other elements. And God placed all of these in us. Just by saying, let us create man in our own likeness. Genesis says this. Then God said, let us make man in our own image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. And then he said this, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. The first existence of people. There was nobody else before that. That keyword them, a lot of folks get that understood. He was talking about Adam and Eve at this time still. Then in Genesis, God tells us what we are made of. Dust of the ground. You know, almost 99% of the mass of the human body is made up of 6 elements. You got oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Only about 85% is composed of another 5 elements. You got potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, and magnesium. And all 11 is necessary for life. So, having Jesus save you is a necessity for your life. So the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground. That's in Genesis 2:7, if you want to go there. The Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. See, we are made of this earth also as well, because the same elements is in the earth.
Yeah.
If you did not know that, Google it. Since everybody is on this Google trip, Google it, you'll find it.
In the Google world.
That's right. It's a wild thing there. Okay, now let's look at what it says in the beginning. You all go to the Genesis 1. We'll get to that part. There was nothing. Then there was heaven and earth. It says in the beginning, right? Okay. Then there was heaven and earth. And both just start. It just started. So yet our faith in God takes us beyond reason to the wonderful truth of God's creation. That's the wonderful truth. God spoke it. See, we can't explain it or understand how the earth came from nothing or any theories that's out there by any man or scientist. We can't explain it. But God said in the beginning. That's all it needs to be said.
That's right.
Stay calm, Rob. Whew. Now, let's think this to ourselves, that creation is impossible to understand intellectually. Right? Our minds, our bodies' abilities to comprehend and reason are finite and restricted by our humanity. Our whole thought process is restricted because God restricted it. Because he knew how man can get besides himself. He already knew he can get out of control. Oh, Lord Jesus, yes, quickly. But listen to this. It just had to be a first before it can be a second. God is not bound by our limitations. So as believers, what we talked about earlier, believing, we are not without sufficient evidence from which to draw a conclusion. God left us a record, a written record of what really took place. You read it right there in the book of Genesis in the beginning. It's right there. God created the universe, then us. Then us. That's in Genesis 1, 26 through 31. And then look at that word, created, when he said this. This word leads to one conclusion, that before God spoke the words to bring forth abundantly heaven and earth to being, there was nothing else, but God existed. Listen here. God was already there, not here on this earth. Some folks get that twisted. Yeah, he right here. Yeah, he is, but he's of everything. He existed before time even began. He created time. He created outside of time, because he's outside of time. Now, I know the atheists throw some stuff out there at you about that, but we're not going to get into that just yet. We will. We really will. Now, think about what happened on the first day. God set everything in motion by just speaking the words, and his focus was on heaven and earth, adding day, meaning light, and the dark, which is the night. It may not be seen to be much, but it's enough, because it's enough from God. Okay, you're probably thinking, that's a whole lot in the 24 hours. Why come God didn't do it in a day? Well, I like to say that's his prerogative. He do what he want to do.
That's God.
That's God. Now, he created this thing for his pleasure. And that's where everybody missed the thought process of this whole thing. It's his prerogative. What he wanted to do, he did it his way. and he's in his own by himself. Now let's look at the three concepts that shape the way we view creation today. The first is materialism, and the second is atheism, and the third is theism. Now, we should really want to understand these concepts, what I'm about to tell you about. I've written them down. Now, the materialism contends that matter is eternal, that has been and always will be. Some physicists say energy can neither be created nor destroyed. This author named Norman L. Geisler has this book out called Knowing the Truth About Creation. He also explains within materialism are two divisions, those who involve God and those who don't. Bizarre stuff. Then many ancients, including the Greeks, believed in creation by God out of some previous existing. Y'all know what that means, right? Meaning it was already there. He just took something old and made it new. Yeah, that's not true. According to the scriptures, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God said what? Heaven and earth. He created it. In the beginning. If it was told a pre-existent, he would say, I'm renewing this earth that was before. It didn't say that. It did not say it. So we know that's a lie. Then this guy named Plato was one of these people also. And the second division is called atheism. They hold to a position that matter is simply there and does not need God to explain it or give it a meaning. Is that something? Now, if questioned, yes and well, and if questioned where the universe came from, here go these atheists, where did God come from? They missed the whole concept of why they're here and being a human.
Yeah, exactly.
And the first thing they're going to say, well, I came from my mom and dad. Okay, where did they come from? Their mom and dad. See how it goes on, the ignorance? You know, it's just pure ignorance. They don't want to stir up their pure minds. They don't want to be held accountable. So they chose not to believe anything because of that. Mm-hmm. They don't want a God there to correct them when they're wrong. Yeah. See, that's the problem. They want to live scot-free and do whatever they want to do, how they want to do it, to whatever they want to do. That's not how God told us to be. But he did give us a choice. Right. He gave us a choice. Right. I ain't going to leave that out. Well, for it makes no sense to them to inquire who made the universe than to ask who made God. Now, pantheism profess a belief in creation is an illusion. Really? An illusion? Only the mind truly exists. Wait a minute, Brother Robert. You mean to tell me it's all in your mind? No, sir. It's not all in my mind. No. They got some goofy stuff out here, y'all. It would take more than a space we have in this very church to try to go deeper into all this. It takes that much time. Because the human, first of all, the human won't even sit there for more than 15, 20 minutes to listen to anybody. Whether it's the truth or nonsense. Either way. Matter of fact, if it's some nonsense and it's making people laugh, they will sit there for hours. Go to a comedy show and see how they do. They'll sit there for hours and laugh up a stone, listen to nonsense. So, we got to get this thing corrected. Now, listen to this. Theism is contrast to the other two. It is Judeo-Christian in nature. It's based on the belief that God created the universe out of nothing, but there is a difference between the creator and his creation. See? As Christian believers, we cannot explain it or reason it out. We just can't. All we know is God is absolute, and he existed before time, Only he created what we know. You cannot think outside of what you know, what God gave you. Try it if you want to. Tell me, let me know, what can you remember before you was born? I'll wait. Anybody raise a hand? Can you tell me what went on before you were born? See, you can only tell me what you know when you were not born on the history after you were born.
Right.
That's all you can tell me. But you cannot tell me anything else besides that. Only if God gives it to you.
That's right.
Only by God. See? Creation is the first doctrine to be stated in the Bible and one of the last in Revelations 4:11. See, and also, the Bible is the only book in the whole world that a lot of folks try to throw it away, tear it apart, shift it like wheat, like the devil wants to do you all. That's the only book that we all need to pertain our knowledge from. We got other books that accommodate to the Bible, but when you take other books and try to accommodate, you need to read it with the Bible to make sure it lines up precept on precept. We need to do that because you're going to get missed if you don't. God knew all would have questions about him, and that's created, and this brings me to what Apostle Paul was speaking to the Colossians at the time when he walked this planet. He was telling them, give thanks and have faith and love, and letting them know he is praying for them, for God to fill them with all spiritual wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Wait, let's go back. In Genesis, when it says replenish the earth, y'all know that, y'all seen that word. That only means to fill. That's what it means, to fill the earth. A lot of folks get this, okay, that means a lot of people was here before that. No. It means to fill the earth. And replenish the earth. No, to fill it up. Okay, now we get back on target. I think this came to my mind. I had to put that out there. Then he states, God rescued us from darkness and brought us into the kingdom of his Son, who have redeemed us. Jesus redeemed us for a time like this. We cannot get away because he has redeemed us. Is it some of us? Wait. Some over here? No, some over there. What about the people downtown? It's just for them people. Okay, no, the people in China? For us, it doesn't specify a type of people anywhere like that. In that scripture, it says, Son who have redeemed us. Who is the us? It's all of us. If you want to go there, John 3:16. For God so loved the what? World. Not a particular people. It says world. We got to get our minds right and read what it's saying. We can't pull that apart when God said so. Just like they try to reestablish the beginning of time. These scientists out here, they trying to, okay, well, this element did this and that. I like to talk to the scientists and question them. Well, if man's creating all this stuff, how did he make space? And the stars and the moon. Did man put that up there? What ladder did man use to go up there in space and put a moon there, put stars in the clouds, the firmament? What man made ladder? That's what I want to know. I want to see that ladder. Then I'll believe it. I want to do what they say. Then I'll believe it. Show me in the scriptures, Brother Robert, then I'll believe it. Okay, here's the scriptures. I got it. So why you believe it? Well, I'll tend to believe. Oh, Lord, they lost. what man-made latter that can reach matter to show me how it just all of a sudden man put it there? It cannot be. But God. Calm down. Yeah, calm down. Okay. That's what I just read was Colossians 1:16 through 23. Then in Colossians 1:25, if you want to go there and read with me, I'll read from an NIV. It breaks it down a little bit more layman terms, I so to say, but it's still the Word of God. Go to Colossians 1:25. Let me know when you get it, because I got to take my time. I don't want to rush things here. Because I got something in the end of this that you need to see. This something just overwhelmed my mind when I seen it. I was like, ooh, I wonder if the church body knows about this. You ready? I have become its servant by the commission God gave me to present to you the word of God in its fullness. See, he gave the fullness, not the half of the Bible or of his word. He gave the fullness. Then it says in 26, the mystery that has been kept hidden for ages and generations, but is now disclosed to who? You all. He gave it all to you to understand it. Then 27 says, to them God has chosen to make known among the who? Gentiles, us again. The glorious riches of the mystery, of this mystery, which is Christ in you. Christ in you, the hope of glory. To you. We proclaim him, admonishing and teaching everyone with all wisdom, so that we may present everyone perfect in Christ. What type of wisdom? Spiritual wisdom. Not man-made wisdom. Man-made wisdom will lead you to a ditch and fall into it. We have to use spiritual Christ wisdom that God gave you. God, not man. You listen to some of the stuff men say out here, man, I tell you, they have you upside down. Paint the wall white, you turn it on and paint white black. Said, oh, I did it. No, stop doing that. You're tricking yourself. You're blinded to what you really see. Well, some people are colorblind. I ain't gonna touch that. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Let me back that out. Let me leave that one alone. Then 1 and 29 says this. To this end I labor, struggling with all his energy, which so powerfully works in me. Now I'm putting all my energy to learn Christ's words and his Bible and try to understand it. Go into prayer. That's all my energy I'm putting into this. We should be the same way. We're going to struggle with this thing together. Just like Brother Paul is saying. He struggled with this stuff. And he, what? Surpassed it all. He surpassed it all. So, Jesus holds us together. He has redeemed us all. So since he redeemed us, think about how we are made. How are we really made? I'm going to give you something to put in your hands to show you how we are really made. And as I come down from here to keep talking to you, as you look on that first page, you see the cross? Look at that. Look at that cross. Look at that there. That's amazing. When I seen and found this, I was just hunting and trying to study stuff. I seen this cross that's beautifully made into all of us. I was so amazed. Colossians, the cells and hinging protein. Look there in the center, right there on that first page. It says 3 estranged coils. 3 representing the triune God. Go to the second page. Look at that. There's the cross again. This stuff is in our bodies. The cross was already there in us the whole entire time. Lamin is the protein that holds all our cells together. It keeps functioning normally and protects us from degenerative disorders or diseases such as muscular dystrophy or progeria. Also is made up of 3 parts, the 3 in 1, just like our triune God. That shook me. Surprisingly, Lamin called the basement membrane. Without this, we will literally fall apart. We will literally fall apart without this. But the Bible says this: for by him, Jesus, all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things, and in him all things hold together.
Amen.
Amen.
Colossians 1:16 through 17. Look at that. It's right there. If any of you had doubts that the cross is not in you, here's the proof. As they say, here's the pudding right before you. It's in you. It's already been in you the whole entire time. The cross is made into you. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack about this. Brother Rob, that's not a cross. It looks like a cross to me. It's the pattern design that God put inside of us.
Amen.
Now, if you that type of person to say, no, that ain't it, okay, I wish you well, and death before you, I want you to tell me when you die and come back and let me know. Let me know. Because I want to see this proof that you said, no, we ain't made like that. Here it is right there. We have this in us. The cross. Christ is already there before us, in us, the hope of glory. So if you heard a voice and you see that Christ is in you and you want to give up your life to Christ, this is the time to do so. Don't wait to make yourself ready for Christ. He's already there.
Amen.
I just showed you. It's in your own body. If you that person still denying that Christ is not for you, we'll continue to pray for you. But at this time, if you heard him speak to you by observing what I just gave you, and you're hearing his words, of the words I just spoke, come at this time. Jesus is calling you. Don't deny yourself. This is it. We have nothing else on earth left but Christ. Don't make earth your home.
Right.
Look towards heavenly things. Our victory is in Christ.
Yes, it is.
Our last event will be in heaven. Don't look for things on earth. I don't want to be here. I don't want no part of earth. I want heaven. Earth is not my reward. Christ Jesus is.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.